That's the sponsors for today, and we have two local community projects I want to bring to your attention. So the first one, unfortunately, our speaker is not going to make it here today. So I will briefly mention it just now in 1 minute, and more information is on the PDCYES website. Okay, and hopefully we'll get him here to speak in person next month, and you're in for a surprise because he comes dressed as a superhero. I spoiled it by saying that. I should have kept it to myself. Anyway, so yeah, this one here that I'm talking about is 47 Dreams. And 47 Dreams is actually a local diff school, teenagers, and he basically asks the teenagers, what's your dream? And he wants to make it happen for every single one of them. So if you want to find out more, all the information is on pdcs.com, okay? So meanwhile, we do have one, for the moment, the last one for today, prior to us having our main event. Our community project is something that it seems that most of the people here in this room have already heard of over the years. In fact, Donovan's been helping for more than 12 years, I gather, so, which is quite exciting to find that I've got the founder here with us today, which is very exciting for me. So please join with me in welcoming to the stage Gayle, who's going to come and tell us more all about her foundation. Coming to Gayle.
I'm Gayle Collins, and I'm the founder and president of the KKIS project. You've probably heard about the KKIS project somewhere in Playa. It's spelled KKIS, stands for Keeping Kids in School. And that might sound pretty lame because everybody knows kids should be in school, except for the kids that live here. Well, for the kids that live all over Mexico. Because the average high school graduation rate here is 33%. Think about that. 33% of the kids that go to school graduate, and 30% of the kids never go to school. So you're setting yourself up as an adult population for having people that can't read and write. I have never had a cleaning lady here in 17 years that I could communicate with by writing her notes. She doesn't read, not in Spanish or English. So it is a problem for people. As a high school teacher for 36 years, to me it was kind of a no-brainer. Oh, what can I do to help? So when I first moved here in 2004, I had a whole happy hour group of friends, and we were always looking for something to do. I heard somebody else say that they were looking for something to do when they first moved. And it was impossible for us to find a way to volunteer while we were here. In fact, at one point, we were told that if you volunteer, that means you're taking somebody else's job, and immigration will boot you out of the country. That did change in about 2010, but it still took a long time for the government to understand that there is a role for volunteerism here. Finding it is another issue, okay? There's a lot of need for I don't know, who said they were working with the diff school. That is a challenge. We worked with the diff school a couple of years back in 25, 26, 27, giving them Christmas presents. Worked with the directors in the diff schools and in not just the diff schools, but we've forgotten the name of the school for handicapped children. And we would give them Christmas gifts. One year, as our group was meeting to talk about what schools we would like to give Christmas gifts to, a teacher from one of the public schools came to our meeting and said to us, I don't want you to give my kids plastic toys. My kids need school supplies. Nobody ever comes to school with school supplies. We can't do anything without school supplies. Kids don't bring pencils, they don't bring notebooks, they have nothing like markers or colored pencils. There's nothing. I am constantly looking for ways in my curriculum, and she told us that the curriculum that she teaches is totally directed by the federal government. They have certain books, certain lessons every week of the year. It's very prescriptive. But the kids don't have the school supplies to complete what they do. And being American, and most of you American, Canadian, British, whatever you are, school is kind of a ubiquitous thing to us. Everybody goes to school. Everybody shows up the first day of school with a new box of crayons and a new pencil and a new notebook, right? We all love the smell of those crayons when you open up that box of crayons. These kids don't have that luxury because their families cannot afford to pay money for school supplies. It's as basic as that. So all of my friends said, this is kind of weird that they can't, why don't we just raise the money for the kids to have school supplies? I also found out that the federal government has a list of school supplies every kid is supposed to show up with at school. But they don't. So consequently, if you're working all day to find a way to do the exercises in your lesson blocks, you don't get much out of the lesson. So I gathered a group over to my kitchen, a happy hour group, and I said, I think we found a purpose here. I think this is something we can do. We've all been to school, we all know what it's like, and just because it's different here doesn't mean these kids have to go without. So we decided we'd work as a group. There were 4 of 7 of us. I am actually the only one left. But we immediately got to work talking to people who were, mostly people at that time came for the holidays. 2 weeks they came, spent a lot of money, did a lot of things, so they said, okay, this time when you come, you're bringing an extra suitcase of school supplies. We need your help here. And we advertised to all the people in the neighborhoods we lived in, all the groups that we belonged to, and eventually, we got enough school supplies to not only give all the kids in that classroom, but to give every kid in their school supplies. It was that easy. I mean, we all know what it's like. All you have to do is go to the store and buy the stuff and donate it. And after we did that, we gave all those things away the day after Three Kings, when everybody was back in school. After that, we all looked at each other very self-satisfied that we had done a good job at what we had tried to do, and sat down around the table and said, okay, what's next? Now what are we going to do? And everybody said, well, we get more school supplies. There's a whole city here of kids. Right now there's 44,000 kids in school here. And the need that we can cover ourselves is just a drop in the bucket. So eventually, we had a big auction that year. That was our first year in 2012. Donovan was our professional auctioneer, and he helped us raise $7,000. And we thought we were doing really well. So we ended up giving all of those school supplies away the next year, and then the next year, and then the next year, and we kept doing it. This is our 12th year, but about 3 years into it, we were going, okay, we can keep giving away school supplies, or we can go the next step and give away scholarships. Because to go to high school here, called Prepa, you have to pay money. You have to pay a tuition, you have to pay school fees, you pay your books, you pay your uniforms, you pay your transportation to and from school. And you don't have a choice what school you go to, it's whatever school they assign you to. So you could be 2 bus rides away from your school where you go. And if you know the landscape of the city we live in, it is a long way from Bachilleres over here on 8th and 30th to Villas del Sol, or out to Guadalupana. Those are long bus rides for kids. So we talked about what we could do for scholarships. So the first year we We had a friend that was living out in Cristo Rey. Does anybody know where Cristo Rey is? You know? Huh? Yes. Yeah, the road is different now. You don't go past Saturday. But if you go out, do you know where the university, the row of universities is? Well, you guys need to get out a little more. Take a bus trip all around town. And find out where these places are, because there is the university highway out there, and there are 4 or 5 universities all off of that same road on the way up to Cristo Rey, which is about another 3 kilometers out into the jungle. And we knew this woman that lived out there, and she had lived in the U.S. for a time, so she understood some English. And she knew 2 girls that were graduating that were done with secundaria school, and they wanted to go to high school, but there was no high school there. So we used those 2 girls as the way to find out how to do this. That was in 2005. No, 2005. That was in 2015. This year, we have 100 high school students on scholarship and 27 university students on scholarship. Thank you. This is what we do. This is our lives. We still give away school supplies, but we are now herding cats. Because if you have 100 of anything, and especially teenagers, it's very hard to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on. But and with every kid that lives in poverty, and all of our students do, comes a lot of social issues. And so we have hired a team of psychologists to work with these kids. Because our goal is to get them to graduate. I don't care what it takes to get them to graduate. But you can't get a job in the hotel unless you want to be a gardener without a high school degree. We think that that's easy. Well, these kids have all these places to go and get hired for jobs, but the biggest industry we have here is tourism, and they can't get jobs. So it's important that we make sure if we take these kids on, that they actually graduate, and we will do anything for them. It actually costs them 3,000 pesos. Now, this is a kid who has nothing. 3,000 pesos just to walk away with a piece of paper, their diploma. It's not free from the government. You have to pay 3,000 pesos a piece for a piece of paper that says you have a diploma. So that's, for some of these families, that's a month's worth of wages. So our goal is we educate the whole child, whatever it takes. Some kids, it costs us a little bit more money. Other kids, not so much. But in the end, they all graduate. We have a 94% graduation rate.
Wow.
The graduation rate for the public schools is 38%. So I think we're doing our job. But more importantly, these kids that we have now come back to us after they graduate, and they want to help. They know other kids that want scholarships. They have sisters and brothers. They want to help, and they come to us and they say, we want to be like you. And I have never, in all the years that I have taught in the U.S., nobody ever told me they wanted to be like me. Okay, I don't know if you understand that where you're from, but you're the teacher. So we have we have an annual fundraiser. This year our goal is to raise $75,000, and we do that. Plus, every kid that we have in our program, whether they're high school or university, they are sponsored by another person. So we are always looking for sponsors. If you want to sponsor a high school kid, it's going to cost you $600 a year. Now, can you imagine paying that as a parent and your income is 4,000 pesos a month? That's not going to happen. The kid is not going to go to school. In fact, you're the parent putting all the pressure on the kid to leave school because you have to work for the family. that is just so common here. It's not the parents' fault, it's not anybody's fault. Regardless of where you live in poverty, that's the issue. Somebody has to be working. So we also have a lot of university students, and all of our university students have sponsors. It costs the sponsor $2,800 a year to do everything for the kids at the university. They get a computer, they get a network that they have access to somewhere. Not all the universities even have computer labs, so you can't say we can give you a computer and you can do it at school. That's not a sure thing. So that's one way you can get involved. Not only can we hook you up as a sponsor with these students, but we also send you all the information. You will have access to all the information we can legally put online for high school students because they're minors. There's a lot of stuff. We can't give you their last names and stuff like that. But for university students, you'll find out what degrees they're in, how they're doing. They will leave you messages on that forum, and they will write things. At the end of every semester for a university student, they have to write us a report. And the report has to be translated into English. And it's easy for them to do when they're done doing it because they don't know English, but it's impossible for us to try and translate 27 essays that are like 4 pages long. So we pick and choose information out of those essays that the kids want us to, and then we post all that information about the students. So you can stay very connected to your students. You can meet your students if you want to. We don't necessarily let high school students meet adults. Now that I said that, we have done that on a couple of occasions, but because they're minors, we're just trying to be so careful about the rights of the students here that we don't take advantage of them just because we could. So that's our life. And we go from one year to the next, gathering more and more sponsors as we go. Every year we set our goal of increasing the number of scholarships we give by 10%. And that means keeping all the ones that we have, as well as adding more. So this year, with almost 130 students, we'll be looking at making sure we have what we do, and now adding 13 more sponsors to the group. Now, I am just Mr. Average, Miss Average out here. I am not doing anything good or anything better than anybody else. I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary that people don't do. I've only used 5 minutes. Oh, okay. I just stepped in when I saw a need. And the need is out there, especially in this community. And one of the things I think you should do as a group, you should get out and see the community that you live in. Find